All right, so today I'd like to talk about something that's important for me, and I think it will be beneficial to hear for some other people who might stumble across this. And yeah, so I've been thinking about how to actually stop hating yourself. And that's something that I've personally been struggling with for a very long time, and I think a lot of people who I know do struggle with this a lot. And and the funny thing here is that all of those people are extremely smart. They're extremely, they're capable. They're talented. They have something to say. They have the potential to be someone. But the thing is, ironically, that they are too smart for their own good in a way. Because the people I'm talking about here, it might, resonate with you, is that you are self-aware, right? In fact, all of my content is mostly for people who, let's say, had certain realizations, who are at a particular state emotionally, who are self-reflectives, who are interested in self-realization and like digging deeper. But here is the funny part, right? So like, if you are so self-aware, why do you still like hate yourself? Where does that come from, right? How does that fit into the picture? And yeah, so right, so a lot of people, they hate themselves and they are not unaware of that. In fact, they know it really well, and that has happened with me as well. Is that you are like kind of self-aware to the point where you can particularly pinpoint your flaws, your shortcomings, where you are, bad, where you are like bad. I mean, again, in a way, right? It's because what is bad, what is good, you don't know, so you just kind of name it and you move on. However, I was just thinking about it today, and what if all of those time you were aware of the wrong things, right? Because this self-hate, where does it come from, really? And I had a very interesting thought where I was thinking, so that's a common sense where people hate what they don't know. But how are you sure that you know yourself? How are you sure that what you hate is real? And I mean, maybe I'm putting it in a weird way, but it's like, are you sure that you know yourself? Because it seems to me that what you are hating is what was fed to you by other people throughout your lifetime. I'm convinced that if you would actually meet yourself for who you are, actually like strip yourself of other people's perceptions and thoughts they fed you throughout your most vital years, and you would discover something completely different. You would discover who you truly are. So like, my point here is that I think that you hate not something, not who you are, because you don't know who you are, because you've been told something from your childhood, that you are like, you had bad experiences with love, right? You had bad experiences with authority, and all of that made you kind of made you internalize the belief that you are unlovable, that you are flawed, that you are bad, that there are parts of you who nobody wants to look at. And because of those, you are unlovable, you are improper, you cannot get love. and then you capitalize on those bad parts, and you shame yourself and you hate yourself and you shit on yourself on and on and on forever and ever and ever. But what if I told you that those bad experiences with love, they do not define you. They do not define who you are. They are not telling anything about you at all. Because it is no secret that people meet you only as deep, only as far as how they meet themselves. And in 100% times, the attitude or what you receive from other people is what they feed themselves. As within, as outside, right? So you've been lied to your whole life, and unknowingly you let them win. You let those people win because whatever they put on your plate you carry, and you are afraid to spill it. That is not the truth. That's not who you are. You don't hate yourself. Even if you think you do. I know I did. But it wasn't me. It was not me. Those people don't know who I am. They never made an attempt to. So all of that fell flat once I realized who I truly am. And actually, I'd like to say that I didn't actually fully realize who I truly am, but at least I'm peeling off the layers right now. At least I am in the pursuit, because I don't think it is truly it's truly possible to completely realize like who you are entirely over the course of your lifetime, but you can make an attempt, and that is worth it 100%. So again, I'm circling here around the same central idea, but like my point here is that those people who fucked you up, they didn't mean to, but they did. And it's your job. It is your job. You have to hear me out. It is your job to stop believing that bullshit, because none of it is about you. Only you know what is true. So look into it. And again, you do not hate yourself. You hate who they made you look like. You know? You hate the shell, let's say, which is unlovable, which is flawed. And there is no shame in accepting that we all are flawed, but that's our strength, right? So yeah, you hate what you don't understand, and you don't really know yourself. Because you believe what they told you, and that is not true. And that is not your real self. So the real work, like the shift that I will urge you to make, is to... The real work here is to start, I think, separating your identity from like all of that like outside noise, which again they projected onto you. Because again, all those people, they've been struggling forever. And you were just born, you just came into this life, and you didn't know any better. You just didn't know any better. That's why you took all of that, and it's not your fault. It is not your fault to be where you are at right now, and I want you to hear me out and like believe it. Or I mean, try it yourself, think about it yourself, genuinely, honestly. It is not your fault to be who you are. It is not your fault to be where you are at right now. You could only do so much, right? If everyone around you is telling you that, you know, let's say you're a bird and everyone's telling you can't fly, you cannot fly to the, you know, of course you will never attempt it because everyone else told you. But the fact is they don't know shit. They don't know fucking shit. Not only about you, about themselves. They wouldn't have a first fucking idea. They wouldn't have the smallest clue. So, like, and I can't blame you. And you should not blame yourself. You should never blame yourself because you could only do so much. You could only do so well. We all are social creatures by default, by definition. So whatever society is telling you, willingly or unwillingly, you'll start believing that if a certain time will happen, over a certain time, that's all you're being fed. That's going to happen. But the real strength now is to start realizing that whatever they say does not define you. Again and again, I have to repeat it as if I'm talking to myself. It just does not define you. Because those people, you may have been around them, they may have been around you, but that just doesn't compare to really knowing someone, to really understanding. And think about it. If so much time has passed and they behave like this, means that they have never even embarked, never even have set foot on that pursuit, right? Of truly understanding who they are, of really realizing things about themselves. So they act out of their trauma, their generational trauma. They are just like, all of this is external, right? They never actually think about themselves. So you are just another target in their, unending fucking warfare. And the sooner you realize it, the better. So you have absolutely zero right to shame yourself, to, how do I say, like beat yourself up because you grew up like this. No fucking wonder, right? Because that everything was against you. The moment you were born, things were just stacked up against you. And that's okay, because, smooth sea never made a skilled sailor, I guess. That's our cope. So, yeah. So it is scary in a way to look into yourself, because bad or not, the hate which you kind of embodied, which you internalized, actually gave you the identity, right? Because it's easy to believe that when it's told to you, right? And that goes another way as well. Actually, you don't have to inquire, you don't have to think, you don't have to actually dig deeper. People already told you what you are, so you just kind of go around it. But what is really difficult is actually questioning all of that, no matter how shitty it is. And it is shitty, and you are suffering because of that, right? But the hardest thing here is questioning it. Actually, suggesting that it might not be true. Yeah, because if all you do is that eternal echo chamber of that you are terrible, that you are, not deserving, not loved, not worthy, not valued, that you are like eternally flawed and garbage, and it's comfortable. That shame, that hate becomes comfortable for you because you already know. You just know, and it's like you don't have to grow anywhere, you don't have to go anywhere. No matter how shitty it is, it becomes your chamber. You kind of take it, you accept it, you say, okay, that's me, yep. So yeah. But you can find yourself again. And I want you to if there's one takeaway that I want you to have from this video, is that you can find yourself again. And it may sound easy, it may sound like very free on the surface, but it actually costs you a lot. And it may cost you relationships, it may cost you interactions with people who were there, abusing you. And it's not like abusing as in a way like physically, or like they were just enabling that behavior, They were just playing their part in that system. It might sound like a ramble, whatever I'm saying here. But once you start actually looking into yourself, you will start outgrowing the patterns. And once you start doing that, you will realize that, oh shit, okay, I don't like these people anymore. I want new people. I want better people. I want someone who sees me for who I am. But for that, I have to see myself for who I am first. And that sparks another cycle of change. And people are not afraid, they fucking hate change. especially, I don't want to say especially people around you, because that's like conjecture, but just expect finding new people in the future who will actually support you better, who will actually see you for who you are, who will actually provide you the necessary tools or support system. It is difficult to start alone, and you will start alone, and you will feel alone, but it gets worse before it gets better, is all I'm saying. It is difficult, and it is something that you have to start alone, but oh, it is worth it. And you can, and you will, and you must rediscover who you truly are, because you are not who they said you were.